Hello everyone, I'm Grayson Pfeiffer. I'm doing my first inquiry video on amazing caterpillars. It's chapter 15 in the K through 5 Picture Perfect Science book. So what you'll need for this lesson is 3 different books. One book is Houdini, the Amazing Caterpillar, and from caterpillar to butterfly. You'll also need The Very Hungry Caterpillar, which is a story we're all familiar with. You'll also, for this lesson, it's a 2-part lesson that lasts over about 2 weeks. Part 1 consists of the engage and the explore phases, and part 2 consists of the explain, elaborate, and evaluate phases. The standards and objectives for this unit. The lesson objective is from the book. It says, by the end of grade 2, students should know that plants and animals have predictable characteristics at different stages of development. Plants and animals grow and change. Adult plants and animals have young, and in many kinds of animals, parents and the offspring themselves engage in behaviors that help the offspring to survive. The Colorado Academic Standard that I chose for this lesson, to be aligned with this lesson, is for kindergarten. The book suggests this lesson to be taught from kindergarten to 2nd grade, but I thought the standard aligned the most with the 2nd grade, or with the kindergarten. And that standard is living things develop in predictable patterns, and students should make and record by drawing, acting out, or describing observations of living things and how they change over time. So that's just like their life cycles and everything. Okay. So in the engage phase of this lesson, you will the teacher will read the Houdini, the Amazing Caterpillar book, which I showed you earlier. Before reading that, you want to make text-to-world connections, so talking about magicians and what magicians do, how they act things out, and how they do magic tricks and things that seem unreal. The book talked about introducing Harry Houdini as a famous magician and kind of what he did, so students can make that connection from Houdini and magicians and things. So then you'll actually read the book Houdini, the Amazing Caterpillar. Read it aloud to the students, but only to page 19 for now. At page 19, students are given sticky notes to make predictions about what Harry Houdini will do for his next big trick. So throughout the book, Harry Houdini's been doing tricks, and now students need to predict what he's going to do next. You can use those sticky notes to formatively assess the students as to their understanding of the book so far. And then don't continue reading the book until part 2 of the lesson. So in the explorers phase of this book, you'll want to introduce the real-life caterpillars. So for this lesson, you want to get the Painted Lady Butterfly Kit, where it'll come with the caterpillars, coupons, food, mesh, and butterfly habitat. So it's just like the usual butterfly kits that you can see throughout schools now, or that schools are using. So you want to introduce the caterpillars to the students and tell them that they'll be making observations over the next couple of weeks. They will make 7 formal observations, but obviously they'll go and look several more times than just 7. They will record those observations in the Amazing Caterpillar journals, which is provided in the book. So they will do that for about 2 weeks. And then we'll move into the explain phase of the lesson. So after several weeks of observation, read the entire story of Houdini, the Amazing Caterpillar, starting from the beginning and reading through the whole thing. While you're reading, students will be asked to signal when Houdini does something they observe their caterpillars doing. So they can either just raise their hand but not say anything, they can do a thumbs up, anything like that to show that they are making the connection between what you're reading and what they saw their caterpillars do. So throughout the reading, of course, ask questions to make text-to-world connections. So talk to them about why the book is a fiction book. So even though it's talking about the real life cycle of a butterfly, the caterpillar / butterfly talks throughout the whole book, and so it is a fiction book telling about real things. Next, you want to introduce the From Caterpillar to Butterfly book. It's a nonfiction book about life cycles. So first, you're going to want to read the story one time to the students, and then read the story again. But before reading the story, you're going to want to give the students the butterfly life cycle cards, and as you're reading, have the students put the cards in order from the beginning of this butterfly's life cycle to the end. So for the next part of the explain phase, the students will be making a pasta life cycle diagram. Each student needs a white paper plate and 4 different kinds of pasta. One bead-like pasta to represent eggs, one rotini pasta, the curlicue ones, to represent a caterpillar, one shell pasta to represent the chrysalis, and a bow tie pasta to represent a butterfly. And they will put the egg pasta at the top of the paper plate and rotate clockwise. So at 3 o'clock they're going to put the caterpillar or the rotini. At 6 o'clock they're going to put the shell pasta, and at 9 o'clock they're going to put the bow tie. And right next to it they will write what stage of the butterfly's life cycle. So it'll be egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly. And then go back and read pages 28 and 29 in From Caterpillars to Butterflies and introduce the phrase life cycles. So talk about how lots of animals every animal has a life cycle, and have the students write life cycle of a butterfly in the middle of their plate, so they make that connection that they have just made the life cycle of a butterfly. For the elaborate stage, explain to students that many animals have very simple lifestyles. Most insects go through much of the same cycle as butterflies. After you explain that most insects have the same life cycles, you're going to want to give the students the Butterflies Aren't the Only One worksheet. So it's this one right here. And each student will be assigned a different insect that also goes through the life cycle of a butterfly, that goes through a similar life cycle as a butterfly. So they go through the egg, larva, pupa, and adult stage. Some of these insects include bees, ants, beetles, fireflies, and many more. And the students can research those insects on the internet and draw a picture of their life cycle. So for the evaluate stage, and then read the book aloud again. So you're going to read it the first time and then read it the second time. And while you're reading it the second time, you will give the students the Very Hungry Caterpillar retelling book. So as you are reading, students should illustrate and label the book, cut it out, and staple it into order.